Hello and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 4 tips and predictions from the Italian Championship with Dani Fisichella. Ciao Dani, only 3 match days and no team has won all 3 games.
Ciao Edu, first time it happens in the last 12 years. Maybe that's a sign of how competitive this Serie A is going to be, how level is going to be. So we got 6 teams top of Serie A with the 7 points. For everyone, the big surprise is Torino up there alongside Atalanta. So we got a Scudetto match this match day because it's Atalanta Torino. But jokes apart, this is the first midweek games for all the teams in Serie A, apart from Fiorentina, who were already involved in the Conference League knockout stages. So I think we'll see a lot of changes, a lot of rotations in formation, because it's the first time they play every 3 days. And next Saturday there is the Milan derby already. That's a real title decider, I think.
Derby della Madonnina, well, title decider, we are still in August, but
well,
probably in the future. Let's analyze all the games as always with Dani Fisichella. So now let's go on with the show. With Dani Fisichella and with you, of course. Remember to leave your comments and comment in live, in this case, this video, or also in the comment section if you are watching us afterwards. Dani, we have games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the first one is a good one, actually. Sassuolo, Milan. Milan is one of these teams with 7 points after beating Bologna 2-0. They've only played 1 game away. It was a draw, a difficult game in Bergamo against Atalanta. And probably this one won't be easy as well against Sassuolo. 4 points with them. I think we still have to wait to see where this Sassuolo is going to.
I think actually for Milan shouldn't be too difficult to negotiate this one, because I think they're in good form. They showed against Bologna that there is a good partnership developing up front with the Cateller and Leao. They both have a very, very good game. Giroud on the score sheet. The defense was tight against Sassuolo. And, Milan comes into this game with a lot of confidence. They are unbeaten in 19 games. This is the longest streak so far in the 5 major European leagues. And they go back to the ground where they won the Scudetto last season, the last game of the season, 3-0 for Milan. Everyone thought, Milan might struggle. It might be a game with a lot of goals. And no, Milan easily won that game 3-0. And actually, every time in the last 3 years they went to Sassuolo, they won. And bearing in mind, last season, Sassuolo was a stronger team with Scamacca, with Raspadori up front. They had more firepower. We talked earlier about potential changes to lineups. I don't think Milan is going to change too much because, unfortunately, they got a few injuries to deal with. There's not going to be Origi. There's not going to be Rebic, who had a very good start of the season with the 2 goals against Udinese. So, again, Giroud, De Cateller, Leao. So maybe a concern for when the derby comes on Saturday. But for this one, I see them favorites, and there is no value really on betting on them to winning. So you have to go probably on the Asian handicap market. -1, 2.10. Let's not forget, last year they won 3-0 here. Sassuolo, it's always the same. With Sassuolo, they play the right stuff. They're entertaining. They produce attacking phases. They do concede a lot of goals. They conceded 2 against Spezia. They conceded a penalty. That's already 5 goals conceded. But, they gave Juventus a good game, at least for 25 minutes. I think also when they played against Lecce at home, Lecce had the chances. It is a team that really needs to tighten up the defense. Last year, they ended up at home conceding 30 goals in 19 games. So they ended up with a negative goal difference at home. Not many teams have that, really, especially if you look at the top half of the table. I think Milan is going to win it. I'm going to win it comfortably. Asian handicap, -1 for the champions of Italy. That pays 210.
All right, Garrick is going for Milan and both teams to score. It's actually curious if we check the stats of the Serie A in Oddspedia that no team has both teams to score in all 3 games. Milan in 2, Sassuolo only in 1 game. So both teams to score is strange because in all the other leagues, actually, we find always teams with all the games both teams to score. Is not the case. Is not the case of the next game. For instance, Roma Monza, especially because Roma is one of the teams also with 7 points, 3 goals scored, only 1 goal conceded. Mourinho style, Danny, they suffer a lot in the Juventus stadium, but they can they came alive with a point. That goal scored by Tammy Abraham, especially conceding a lot of chances in the first half. The other 2 games were short victories against Cremonese and Salernitana. With Monza, 0 points. These kind of games usually know how to negotiate them.
Oh yeah, Roma, they got a point at Torino, but I do agree with you, and Mourinho was really critical after the game. They were appalling in the first half. It looked like they had no plan B, no reaction. Yes, they conceded after the first minute with Vlahovic scoring the free kick, but then they started giving the ball away a lot. They couldn't keep possession. Mourinho went there with the midfielder of Cristante and Matic, probably planning a game of sitting back a little bit, containing Juventus and hit them on the counter. But then when they had to manage the ball, they couldn't do it. They lacked a lot of belief in the first half. The first half could have ended 3-0 for Juventus easily. Also had a goal disallowed. But, in the end, Roma, also because of Juventus' demerit in the second half, they came back. They scored another goal from a corner. That's already the second goal from corner this year. Last year, they scored 11. So, they do find a way. They find the resources to manage to get a point, which could be a good sign for things to come. But I still have my doubts whether Roma are Scudetto material just yet. They will be with Belotti for this one. Belotti from Torino, so he's going to be on the bench. Okay, an option for Mourinho, obviously in midweek. And with the rotation, Mourinho has been very critical of Abraham against Juventus. He said it was horrible. So let's see if there is a reaction from the young Englishman. Abraham to score, it's pace 2. Dybala to score, pace 207. Dybala still hasn't scored, but gave an assist to Abraham. So that could be an interesting one. There are going to be changes for Mourinho as well. I think we'll see Selic, the new right back. We'll see Zalewski from the start. And, Roma normally against the so-called small teams have been really, really good in the last 2 seasons. It's against the top teams that they struggled. Normally they win easily, they win 2-0. Monza, they've added a lot of players to the team. They're still looking for an identity. We can see glimpses of good football also against Torino, but such a too late reaction. The value, Roma to win, of course, is not there. The Asian handicap, you need to go minus 1.75. That could be risky because it's a midweek game. I looked at the win to nil market or the clean sheet market, but I think if you go for the clean sheet, why not going for Roma to win to nil, which is 214. Let's not forget last season, Rui Patricio kept 15 clean sheets, already 2 clean sheets against Salernitana and 1 against Cremonese. Against Salernitana didn't even have a shot on target. So yeah, Roma to win to nil, 214.
That's Garrick's tip as well.
Yes.
Roma to win at home, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 for Marco. There might be problems for Roma in this game. Well, the drop is a lot. That would be a huge surprise. Well, Mourinho criticizing Abraham, but at least the Englishman scored that header. Then next game, we have a lot of favorites in this Tuesday. Inter Milan Cremonese. It was tough, the game for Inter against Lazio, and they were defeated. Like last season, Danny, they've only played so far 1 game at home, was an easy one against Spezia, 3-0. So against a team with 0 points like Cremonese, I guess we expect Inter to bounce back. But what were the problems in the Olimpico?
I think the problems were that Inter kind of dominated the game for the first 25 minutes, but played a very low rhythm. So they showed all the potentials and they showed how good they could be in possession, but Lazio kept them at bay really well and limited the possession in Inter half. And when Inter crossed the midfield, Lazio were really compact, really aggressive in their marking. Inter struggled to find in the space and were limited to, passing the ball backwards. And then, Lautaro and Lukaku, they didn't have a great game. Lautaro scored, but the partnership, we know is working. We know they are good partners. We know they like each other and they play well with each other. The problem is that Romelu is still not in form. I think he's 50% so far, and he's not going to play this one anyway because he's injured. He's not going to play this one. He's not going to play the derby. He's not going to play against Bayern Munich. So Inter, biggest investment this summer, out of a sudden is out for 3 crucial games, including the derby. And this could be a problem for Inter, not because they are lacking goal scorers, but because I think at the moment the team needs Lukaku as a reference up front. When they're in trouble, they get the ball to him. Sometimes he doesn't hold it that well. And also the problem with Inter is that, probably something that not many people talk about, is that they miss Perisic. Perisic was the best player last season for them. The player that was able to help them in transition, hold the ball, creating chances, crossing with the left foot, shooting with his right foot. And, they really got a hole in the left side. Gosens is a bit of a mystery. Big investment in January. Only started 1 game in 7 months. Maybe he's going to start here. Di Marco at left wing back. He's good, but he switches off sometimes. Look at the goal Felipe Anderson scores. He just goes in front of him. So yeah, Inter have got some issues in defense there as well. But against Cremonese at home, obviously they are huge favorites, because Cremonese, we said many times, they have started the season well. They're starting okay. They play the right stuff, but still need 0 points. But it's a team that doesn't really surrender easily. They like to try to keep the ball, and I think they will cause some troubles to Inter. But if you look at the numbers, Radu, which by the way is the ex-Inter goalkeeper who cost them the Scudetto, yes, he comes back to San Siro. Imagine the reception he's gonna get. But Radu, so far, is one of the best goalkeepers in Serie A, one of the busiest for sure in terms of saves. You could go for the corners market maybe, because Inter is the team that takes more corners, 22 corners so far in Serie A, Cremonese 13, so you could go for an overall more than 10 corners. If Inter finds themselves with the back against the wall, they're gonna put more attackers in, they're gonna finish the game with 3 forwards, they're gonna start putting crosses, so producing corners. But on this one, I went to the Asian handicap market, and I found one I really, really like. Cremonese Asian handicap plus 2.5, 189. So almost doubles your stake, because I think Inter, as I said, missing Lukaku. They don't look very sharp. They might make some changes in formation. Cremonese, they might nick a goal. They come close against Roma to score in 2 weeks ago. So if Inter wins 2-0, you win 189. Inter wins 3-0, of course you lose. But, Inter wins 3-1, you still gonna win 189.
Mahler has picked a similar actually bet, Cremonese Asian handicap plus 1.5, a bit riskier, but still with chances that Cremonese don't get thrashed in San Siro. Cremonese, remember, they lost the 3 games, but all of them by 1 goal, and they face Roma or Fiorentina, for instance. So they've had a very tough calendar. On Wednesday, we can find better odds for the outright market in some of the games. Empoli Verona, for instance, is a really balanced one, because Danny's been saying the whole season that Verona looks worse than last season. They've lost many players, and they only got 1 point in these first 3 games. Whereas for Empoli, Danny, the news is that they are not conceding 2 points, and contrary to what happened with them last season, that they were leaking, this season they've been shutting the door.
Yeah, although they haven't played a great opposition. They play Spezia, Fiorentina, and Lecce. So, a really easy start from Verona. Both teams, to me, they look weaker. Also, problems, obviously, the fact that the transfer market is still open is affecting these teams. For example, Empoli is pretty sure they're going to lose Bairami to Fiorentina, so Paolo Zanetti kept him out for the trip to Lecce, and this goes together with having lost already Aslani, of course, and Pinamonti. It is a weaker team, I would say. Destro still hasn't scored. Verona, on the other hand, they've lost all the front 3, Caprari, Barak, Simeone. They replaced them with the Henry, who had a decent season at Venezia, still got relegated. Lasagna, who is a striker that hasn't gone into double figure in the last 6 or 7 years. It's very difficult to see Verona being as competitive as they were the previous year with Tudor. Empoli is the team that has drawn most games since the new year, 10 out of 22, and Verona actually also is quite good with draws because they draw the last 4 trips to Tuscany, so including Empoli and Fiorentina. The problem with Verona is who's going to score the goals, really. I know they hit the bar against Atalanta, but the game of Atalanta was really, really poor and boring. Lot of attempts on target. I got a stats after when we talk about Atalanta, but really, really not close to any scoring opportunities. I like the draw for what I said, but if you want to be a little bit cautious, go for, I don't think Verona are going to lose this one. Go for the Verona Asian handicap 0-198 if you like.
Okay, if you want to take more risk, the draw, Marco is going for a super draw, he's saying. And welcome to Armando, and thanks for the compliments. Armando, hopefully Danny is as accurate in this match day as usually, actually.
As usual.
Yeah, very accurate. And also in European competitions. Next week we are back with European competitions. So follow us, of course, for the Champions League and the Europa League. But before, Danny, let's analyze more games. Sampdoria, Lazio, ugly defeat for Sampdoria, 4-0 against Salernitana. I think we didn't see this coming. Only 1 point, the one they got against Juve, playing at home for Lazio. On the contrary, great start with 7 points. Things are clicking for Sarri.
Let's start with the bad with Sampdoria. No reaction, no character against Salernitana. They conceded 2 goals after 20 minutes. And then, yes, as I said, they almost disappear from the pitch, and still no goals from Sampdoria in 3 games. Okay, a little bit of bad luck because they've hit the bar and the post already 4 times this season, also Salernitana. So basically in every game they hit the bar of the post. So they should have had at least a couple of goals in the last 3 games, of course. But you can tell that this is a team and is a club on turmoil. For all the summer, we heard about new investors, a new buyer, the club changing hands. It still hasn't happened, and you can understand why they've been a little bit slow in the transfer market. I know this week they got Harry Winks from Tottenham. That's a very interesting one. See how he adapts after 20 years playing always for Tottenham. See how he adapts to Italian football. But there are rumors that they might sell the best player at the back, which is Omar Colley, going to Mallorca, which for me will be mad 3 days before the transfer market shuts. In terms of attacking stats, they're not bad. They had 11 more shots than Lazio so far in the league, but they've scored 0 goals. At the weekend, they had 17 shots, only 6 on target against Salernitana. Salernitana had 9 shots, 6 on target. Salernitana scored 4 goals. I think it's also a question, a little bit of bad luck, but not having enough quality and not having enough goal scorers. They still set up with only 1 striker, which is Caputo. They need a little bit more there, but let's see who they can find in the last couple of days of the transfer market. When it comes to Lazio, I must say it was a very good win, a very Sarri style win. I can see the team improving. I can see the team in the second year of Sarri already embedding a lot of the ideas of the coach who arrived last year, playing a much better structure with a 4-3-3. Everyone knows what they're doing, tight marking, aggressivity, and they knew how to exploit Inter weaknesses, especially on the white hand side. Another great performance by Milinkovic-Savic. Does the 13 assists since the start of the last season. Is the top midfielder in Europe for these stats. And also Sarri showed that he has got a deep squad, and if he can manage Luis Alberto and Pedro, Luis Alberto, who been talked all summer long, he has to leave, but if he knows to manage them now, to get them back into the team and rotate them, The team is definitely stronger. But here, when it comes to the picks, as I said, there could be changes in the formation, so that could be different. I know the price for Lazio to win, it's good, but
It's
be
good.
careful with this one here. 195 is really good, but maybe let's try to be a little bit clever and look at the goals market. First of all, over 2.5 goals, because as I said, Lazio is a scoring team. Sampdoria hasn't scored yet, but I think they are due to score a goal. So over 2.5 goals, it's 194. But if you want to top it up a little bit more, you can go for Ciro Immobile to score and over 2.5 goals. That gives you a return of 270. Why Ciro Immobile? Okay, Ciro Immobile scored 2 goals last season when they played Sampdoria away. In 2020, he scored a hat-trick against Sampdoria. He likes scoring against Sampdoria. He played 18 times against Sampdoria, scored 15 goals in his career with 4 different clubs. But he also liked to score against Genoa. So basically, he liked to score against the Genoa club. Now, against Genoa, he played 14 games, scored 15 goals. That's already 30 goals in his career against the Genoa club. And where most goals have come? A Marassi, 16 out of 30 goals that Immobile scored against the Genoa club at Marassi. So he likes to score there. Over 2.5 goals, Immobile to score 270.
He likes pesto alla genovese, no? Immobile.
We love it.
Exactly. Who doesn't? With Fagioli, of course, always good. For Marco, this is an Asian handicap +2 for Sampdoria, so they are not getting thrashed. The odds are not very great, I guess, for this one. And Armando is remembered that is reminding us that Lazio got thrashed last season after beating Inter at home. But as Dan is saying, this Lazio looks stronger in the second year of Sarri on the bench. Then we have Udinese. Fiorentina, Udinese 4 points, Fiorentina 5 points. For Fiorentina, 3 consecutive 0-0, also with the conference game against Twente, a team that last season scored a lot. For Udinese also was a 0-0 draw, the only game they've played at home, Danny. And overall, actually, we haven't seen many goals in this start of Serie A compared to last season.
No, you're right. Yeah, last season there was an average of 3.3 goals, and so far most of the games have been under 2.5 goals. And I think this is due because some of the teams are still incomplete, and there is a lack of quality, lack of players there. But when it comes to this one, I don't think Fiorentina should be too concerned with the fact they haven't scored in the last 3 games, because they came really close to score both against Twente and against Napoli, especially in the first half. And I must say, Fiorentina, they seem to be a little bit better this year at managing games. Last season, we saw them starting the games really well, winning a lot of first half, but then in the second half, dropping down because they played too intensively in the first half. Now they're getting better, and against Napoli, they held their own, had a good game, very good game from Amrabat in midfield, a very interesting position of Barak, playing in midfield, but breaking the lines, so making almost a front 4 with Jovic, with Icone, with Sottil. So they got goals in them, but also have Udinese, I must say. Now they look much more lively. They got Beto back in front. He scored against Monza. He was the top goal scorer last season, 11 goals alongside Beto. At home, Udinese, difficult to trust because last season they were okay, but they lost 6 games. The draw is interesting. Somebody suggesting a draw, Gareth Matthews first half draw. Yeah, why not? But maybe you want to be a little bit cautious, go for an Asian handicap 0 for Fiorentina, 193, which pays quite well. Obviously, if Fiorentina draws, you get your money back.
Indeed, the bookies also expect a draw with these odds, basically almost the same for the home team and for the away team. Still, Fiorentina is slightly favorite, really favorite. Juventus playing at home against Spezia. You mentioned that they deserve more against Roma. That goal disallowed, I'm actually not sure. Of course, it touched the hand, but, well, this is the things of VAR. Whereas for Spezia, Dani, 4 points, so it's not a bad start for them. It's true that the only game they played away, they didn't even put a fight against Inter.
Yeah, I mean, Spezia, this is the best start of the season in Serie A ever, because in the previous 2 seasons, they had 3 points and 1 point, and now they got 4 points. But you're right. When they played against Inter, yeah, I mean, they were so passive and they didn't have any reaction. It's always difficult to judge because, you know, you never know where the Inter merit starts and the merit of Spezia finish. But let's see if they learn a little bit from there. Let's see what kind of formation they go with. I still believe Gotti is going to go with a very low block, maybe playing only two up fronts, Strelec and Zola, maybe Strelec and Verde. We'll see. With Juve, they had the game really controlled against Roma. They had Roma where they wanted it, pinning down. They were aggressive. They show some guile. They show some reaction. Very good performance in midfield from young Miretti. Finally, Allegri understood he needs to start the young player because he could be the link up between the wide areas like Kostic and the center forward like Vlahovic. But in the second half, maybe a lack of physical condition. We are in August. They looked a little bit shattered, strangely. Maybe a lack of belief. They sat back. And then in the second half, I don't remember Rui Patricio making a save. I think there are going to be changes for Juventus here. Probably we'll see a start from the first minute for Milik. Who knows if they can play together with Vlahovic? That what Milik reckon he can do. Let's see if he really can feel Morata's boots, you know, or if he's a downgrade. You know, he's gone through some difficult season, Milik, we must say. In the previous two games, Juventus always won 2-0 against Spezia home, 1-0 and 3-0. Spezia, let's not forget, was the worst away defense last season. They conceded 41 goals on their travel, but I think with Gotti, compared to Thiago Motta, they're going to sit a little bit deeper, try to be more defensively minded, but maybe they are too defensively minded because they only had 4 shots on target in the first 3 games of the season in Serie A. There is no value in betting for Juventus for a Juve win. If you want to go on the Asian handicap, you need to go -2. But remember, Juventus last year were the 11th attack of Serie A, only the 7th home attack of Serie A. So I don't know if they can create enough chances, especially without Di Maria. Go for the usual. Juventus to win 2-0. To win maybe boringly 2-0, 1-0, maybe could be 3-0 like Sassuolo, and that pays 210.
Yeah, because, well, we cannot trust Milik. Perhaps the Serie A fans think that he was good with Napoli, but last season in the league, and he didn't hit the numbers. A boring game, Danny. You mentioned Garrick is telling us that Juventus are boring. Do you agree with him so far?
I don't think they're the most spectacular team to watch, and I don't think you can see the improvement from last season. But there is a caveat. So far, Allegri has really couldn't count on the new signings. We haven't seen Pogba. We have only seen Di Maria once. We're starting to see Kostic now. I think they're still incomplete. They need a midfielder like Paredes or a playmaker that can make them tick. It is an incomplete team, and yes, I think as it is now, Juventus will struggle, but this is going to be a very, very balanced title race anyway.
You mentioned Pogba. Let's see how he adapts again to the Serie A after also the soap opera that is going around his family. This is for another chapter and another channel, probably. What a mess. Talking about goals and making fun or at least entertain us. Napoli, Lecce, we were surprised with that goalless draw against Fiorentina because in the previous 2 games, 9 goals scored by Spalletti's men. Now they have another opportunity, Danny, to score many goals against Lecce. Only 1 point for this newly promoted team.
Yeah, first time Napoli didn't score in the last 15 Serie A games. So since March, they found it really hard against Fiorentina, especially to keep the possession in the opposition half. They didn't create many chances. Then in the second half, a few changes. We saw Simeone, we saw Raspadori, who looked good, but yeah, overall, well, you cannot say it was a step back for Napoli, but surely a reality check. You know, we knew they were not going to just win every game 4 or 5-0. Osimhen struggled against Milenkovic, had a good game, the Serbian, but you know, now comes a midweek game. We'll see how deep is Napoli's squad. We'll see how good Spalletti rotation are going to be. I'm expecting to see Simeone from the start, Raspadori from the start, Dombele from the start, maybe a couple of changes in defense as well. Let's see, because maybe Oliveira, who they got the new left back from Getafe, if I'm not wrong, in place of Mario Rui. Let's see how it goes, because that's really the to understand how deep is Napoli squad and when the Champions League is gonna start. Normally, last year and the previous year, they've been really good against small teams at the Maradona. They trashed them. They've been very high scores, but this is a midweek game, so you need to take it with a pinch of salt. Lecce probably will start with a war champions, with Umtiti, who's been welcomed as he deserves. Great move for NTT after a couple of very difficult season up Barcelona. They're still trying to strengthen the team with Verdi, who did a really good job last season at Salernitana with ACCA Pro. I think it's a team that maybe lots of people have not considered at the beginning, but they are playing the right stuff, I must say. They have interesting players, especially up front. Banda, Cisse, Strifezza, who scored at the weekend, Bistrovic in midfield. They've done a good recruitment. They've done a good job. But for this one, as I said, I think they could nick a goal here. I think they're going to lose Lecce. Napoli are going to win it, but it might not be a clear win. We need to go for the corners market on this one, because I think if Napoli are finding themselves in difficulties, they're going to start putting in Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia. If he doesn't start, they're going to end up with a lot of attacking players at the end in the game, Lozano, Politano, etc. I can see them really putting everyone in and obviously creating attacking phases, crossing ball into the box, producing corners. Corners-wise, Napoli have taken 21 in the first 3 games, so it's 7 corners per game. Lecce have taken 13, which is 4.33 per game. So if you look at the maths and if you think Napoli are going to dominate and they're going to attack, Napoli Asian handicap corners minus 3.5. It looks good to me, 203. So Napoli needs to take at least 4 more corners than Lecce for you to win the bet.
Marco is asking you if you see Osimhen leaving the club in this couple of days of March.
No, absolutely not. I think it will be I don't think he's going to leave in the club, because we've got only 3 days left in the transfer market. These sort of operations, they need to be done early in order to find a replacement, and it will be a very bad business for Napoli to let Osimhen, who is 23 years old, leave even for 100 millions. And please don't tell me they're going to replace him with Ronaldo, because that's going to change completely the way Napoli plays. Spalletti have got them set up really well. He's a different player. Ronaldo is a brilliant player, but at the moment he's not the player Napoli needs. And also Napoli looks complete in attack. So I hope they don't sell him. And yeah, for Manchester United, really too little too late to thinking to get Osimhen right at the end. But for me, there is 0 chance Osimhen is going to leave.
Okay, well, in random signings, Umtiti to Lecce is one of them. Is like Pastore to Elche last season, or even Ribéry to Salernitana. But let's see if he enjoys the sun in the south of Italy, in Puglia, or he wants to play football. He hasn't wanted to play football in the last couple of years with Barcelona. Danny, we have 2 more games on Thursday. Partita Scudetto, you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Atalanta, Torino, because both are at the top of the table with 7 points. Good start for Gasperini's men in different fashion. All 3 games under 2.5 goals. This is not the Atalanta we were used to see. Whereas for Torino also, great start for Juric without Belotti. Delivering so far.
Doing well. Torino is the great surprise. Very good games, although bit of a caveat. The 2 wins are against 2 newly promoted teams, against Monza and Cremonese. But against Lazio, they held their own 0-0. So yeah, positive start for a very aggressive Torino. Juric, second season in charge, leaving his mark. The team is really pressing high, like his Verona side were doing, and they got quality. I like the fact that this Torino reminds me a little bit of a former Yugoslavian teams, not just because of the personnel. Juric is a Croat, Radonic, Vlasic, Voivoda, but they got a sort of talent, guile, character, fight, like Serbia, Croatia, the former Yugoslavia. Really, really like this Balkans Torino, if you like. And I think they are a promising side. This is a strange season. You never know what's gonna happen. They're gonna win the title? No. But who knows? Maybe they could qualify for Europe. Also because, back three, very proven system. In midfield, the young Ricci is imposing himself really well. They are unbeaten after 3 games for the first time since 2018, 2019. They won the first 2 away games for the first time since 76-77, when they were playing with the Scudetto on their chest, the last Scudetto they won in the previous season. And now they go to Atalanta, which is a team that they like playing. They often score against, and this could be a chance for Torino to again continue in their progresses. Atalanta 7 points, but I'm not entirely convinced the way they're playing. That's why the odds for Atalanta to win are particularly high. I can understand why. They've not been particularly impressive in these 3 games. I think against Sampdoria they were lucky. I think against Verona they were lucky. Against Verona it was one of the worst games of the season so far. Mentioned before, I had a stat. 21 different players in the game between Verona and Atalanta attempted a shot on target. So pretty much everyone on the pitch had a shot on target. Expected goals 1.05. That's the lowest in Serie A so far. It took a wonder goal from Coop Miners to break the deadlock. A bit lucky, I think, Atalanta. They are a work in progress. This is a season for Atalanta to restart, rebuild. We know European football. Gasperini, I trust him. I think he's going to find the solution in the end, but it's going to take time. When it comes to the home games, Atalanta, they have a poor record, 0 wins in the last 8 home games in all competition. The last Serie A win game was back in February. So a double chance for Torino here. You cannot discard it. I think he's around the 1.8 mark. Why not? Torino win? Wow, that could be massive. But I'm going to go for something a little bit different here. I'm going to go for the cards market. By the way, Atalanta is the team that got more yellow cards so far in the season, 10 yellow cards in 3 games, on average of 3.333 periodic. Over 5.5 cards, 195. These are 2 teams that are really aggressive. It could be a really good fight. Otherwise, go for both to score and the goals market as well, but I don't think it pays that much. 195 over 5.5 cards.
Tricky game to bet, as our friend Garrick is telling us. Both teams to score. Shuban is telling this. Be careful, because only 1 game out of 3 for Atalanta ended up with both teams to score, and we are seeing that this Gasperini new team is not scoring a lot. Peter is asking us, what is our website? Oddspedia. We have my t-shirt here. The brand logo there, so you can go and check the best odds for every single game. Danny, for instance, the last one of this match day, Bologna Salernitana, super favorite. Bologna 1.95, super favorite, and they haven't won a single game so far, only 1 point, a bad start. They had a tough calendar, of course, facing Milan and Lazio, but I was quite surprised, because I wouldn't put my money on Mihailovic men beating Salernitana, a team that still surprises us with 4 points, a great start. They are following the trend of the end of last season.
And I agree with you. I don't understand why Bologna are favorites. The odds for them to win are nice, are promising, but I don't see them really being that good so far this season. Everything goes through Arnautovic. They still haven't found a good partner with him. Musa Barrow does a lot of work, does a lot of running. It lacks something quite fundamental for a striker, the goal. So everything goes through Arnautovic, really. Bologna last season, they were unbeaten versus Salernitana. They won 3-2, they drew 1-1. But Salernitana away, surprisingly, are unbeaten in the last 5, and that's how they got just saved last season, because of very good away performances. The last 2 away games for Salernitana have been clean sheets. Will they have enough firepower to trouble Bologna to get 3 points there? I don't know. But against Sampdoria, they scored with 4 different players. I trust Nicola to keep it tight, keep it organized, don't get really thumped here. If you trust Bologna, maybe you can say, well, the stats are on Bologna's side. They played 15 games on Thursday night in Serie A, never lost at home on a Thursday night. But for this reason, you could go for a double chance here. I like it. X2, 201 for a draw or a win for Salernitana.
Yeah, even the draw is good. By the way, only one goal conceded by Salernitana. Danny, we were not laughing, no, but commenting last season that they were very leaky. They managed to fix this situation, and this season their defense has been pretty good. Only one goal conceded, the one scored by Roma. So this is it. This is gonna happen on Thursday, Danny. Which is your safe bet, the one that you are most confident with?
Fiorentina are not gonna lose at the Friuli against Udinese, so you go for a double chance, which pays 150.
You were kind of lucky last weekend with Roma is not going to lose at the Juventus Stadium, but it happened.
But it happened, and people commented, why are you doing this? Why are you doing? At the end, it happens. Look, the ball is round, and nobody has the crystal ball. But
exactly. This is what we always say, and Danny is putting and giving you so many data to back his tips and for sure to back his ACCA of these midweek games.
Still haven't nailed. Let's see if we go for the fourth consecutive week. We try to get it. So I try to lower the odds a little bit more, maybe a little bit more likely. Roma, Monza, both to score. No. Empoli, Verona, double chance, X2. Sampdoria, Lazio, over 2 goals. Napoli, to win against Lecce. Total odds 5.21.
Okay, thank you, Danny. Thanks everyone for following with us. Still, leave your comments, press the like, and see you on Friday with Danny and more Serie A. Of course, we have more games in the weekend, and the Derby della Madonnina will be waiting for us. Danny, arrivederci.
Ciao Edu,
bye bye.
ciao, speak soon, arrivederci.